Hello. Today we are reading in A Course in Miracles based on the original handwritten notes of Helen Schuckman, complete and annotated edition by Circle of Atonement. We are starting the introduction to the complete and annotated edition. I would like to pause here and open with a prayer. Dear God, please enable me to set aside everything I think I know. Allow me to have an open mind for a new experience. Help me to release that I think I know what I think I know, which is everything. Sorry. God, please restore me to an open mind. I love you. Amen. Okay, introduction to the complete and annotated edition. A Course in Miracles has become a contemporary spiritual classic. It stands by itself, not part of any larger tradition, and with no centralized movement behind it. The strength of its popularity can in large part be attributed to one reason: the power, beauty, and wisdom of its words. Since it was originally published in 1976, readers have recognized in those words truths that they have never heard before, yet somewhere inside seem to have always known. As a result, those words have inspired profound and lifelong devotion in thousands of students around the world. I am so grateful to be one. At the heart of that devotion is the belief that those words came from beyond the human level, that rather than being conceived by Helen Schuckman, they were received by her, perhaps from the very place they claimed to have come, from the mind of Jesus. What students did not know for many years, however, is how much human input went into the published work. The original dictation that Helen took down was run through a lengthy editing process that produced a new version with each editing pass. And during each new editing pass, the editors apparently consulted only the most recent version, rather than going back to the original. And by the end of the process, roughly 45,000 words have been edited out, and mostly from the first 7 chapters of the text. And the wording of the first 4 chapters had been edited to the point where only about 1/5 of their sentences retain their original wording. Some of this editing of the early text chapters was genuinely needed, given that some of the early material was too personal for a published edition. Indeed, Helen Schuckman received general guidelines and, in regard to some passages, specific instructions for how the editing was to be done. Yet, the editing appears to have gone beyond what was instructed. As a result, the author's attempts to clarify his new ideas with illustrations, analogies, real-life examples, and comparisons to existing ideas were largely edited out. And so, a vital bridge into his new and unfamiliar world of thought was essentially removed. As the earlier versions of A Course in Miracles came to light in the beginning years of the 21st century, it became clear to us that there was a need for a new edition, an edition created by going back to Helen's shorthand notebooks and then editing afresh, retaining the original words to the maximum degree possible. The complete and annotated edition, then, is based directly on Helen's original handwritten notes. By going back to the words that Helen Schuckman heard in her mind and wrote down in her notebooks, it attempts to bring the reader into a more direct encounter with the power of those words. It includes, either in its main body or appendices, the approximately 45,000 words that have been removed in the original published edition. As the basis for this edition, we have carefully transcribed Helen's notes, which were written in a combination of shorthand and handwriting that can be difficult to read. Our transcription involved producing a key over shorthand symbols, figuring out unclear words, and reading beneath strike-throughs to detect original wording, which is sometimes preferable. Starting with an accurate transcription of our notes, we then re-edited A Course in Miracles from the beginning. Our focus on the inclusion of all the material has resulted in a work with a number of key features. The first 4 chapters of the text are roughly twice as long as they are in the familiar Foundation for Inner Peace edition. Material whose meaning had been changed by editing is now presented in its original form. For instance, we have restored the original statement, "Prepare you not for the undoing of what never was," which had been changed in the FIP edition to "Prepare you now for the undoing of what never was." Material that has been rearranged and placed in a different order by editing has, in almost all cases, been restored to its original order. Extensive footnotes have been included to clarify difficult passages, identify unclear pronouns, define psychological terms, point out allusions to things in the general culture, and list course references and Bible references. 33 cameo essays have been written and are included in Appendix 1. These essays comment on personal guidance given by the source of the material to the scribes, Helen Schuckman and Will Thetford. This guidance, while too personal for the course proper, clarifies the application of course principles to the lives of the scribes, and by extension to the lives of all students. Material that had never made it out of Helen's notebook is included, such as this passage, "Love him steadily, whatever he does, whatever he says, and he will see the miracle of God, and you will learn of salvation. If this seems hard to do, remember it is what you want of me." Dictation that is too personal for the course proper but is too short to be the subject of a cameo essay is commented on in the editing notes. These can be found online, and there's the address there if you want to scribble that down. All original emphasis of words is retained either as italics or as gray underlines, as this helps to illuminate the meaning. Most of the text section titles and many of the text section divisions are new. Documentation and often explanation of editing changes is included. Again, these are found online. The teaching in this edition does not contradict the teaching found in other editions of A Course in Miracles. However, we believe that this edition, through its inclusion of additional teaching and restoration of original wording and order, will follow the Course's true meaning and character to shine through a little more clearly. And we hope that this will enable students to better see the Course for what it is, relate to it as it is, and apply its profound truths to their lives. If you wish to know more about why and how this edition was made, please read Appendix 2, The Need for this Edition and How It Was Made. And I'll read that after this, probably in my next video. Key to references in the complete and annotated edition. The complete and annotated edition of A Course in Miracles uses a numbering system for references within the work. This numbering system is as follows. IN is Introduction to A Course in Miracles. Example, in 2.3, Introduction, paragraph 2, sentence 3. IN is also used for the introductions to the workbook, W-IN, the manual, M-IN, and clarification of terms, C-IN. The T equals text. I'm not going to read all that. W is workbook. W/RE is workbook review. W part 3 or part 2 is part 2 or 3. Sorry. I'm always giggling, aren't I? Oh, Lord. Okay. I'm not going to read all that, but I think you get the gist. You can certainly pause the video if you want to look at it more closely. And then we have WWI is the what is sections preceding each group of 10 lessons in part 2. That's part 2 of the workbook. What is W/WI? Part 2 of the workbook is what is sections. W-FL is final lessons, which is preceding lessons 361 to 365. EP, C, and manual, C, clarification of terms, C-EP. Alrighty, so I will stop there right now. I love you. Thank you for joining with me. And I think I'll read Appendix 2 for my next reading, the need for this edition and how it was made. Thank you, thank you. Love you.